Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Power Book 2 Ghost Episode 2. Once again, we are really full on, and what is the most shocking thing we can do on this show? Introduce a character who you remember from Power Book 1.
That's right.
I don't feel like we're at the point yet where Power Book 2 has really delivered that much in, the way of, story-related surprises. The moments that I think my hair, or I guess what hair I have, was standing on end was when they would brought in somebody who was like, oh snap, there's Tate. We've got a couple of those to talk about.
Yep.
Some other events. We have I think this was a good episode. There are still some things that Book 2 needs to work on, but I'm enjoying it, and I think for now that's all I really need or expect.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in there. It was good to get to know Monet and her family, Kane, everybody is going on over there. That was something that I was looking forward to.
Well, before we go any further here, if you guys do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more, and support us further. Just check that link to our store, and we also have one for our Patreon. Thank you to everyone who's signed up for that so far.
So, yeah, there was some people that we got to see. Let's talk about the funeral, because there were some people that showed up there. There was like, of course, Tate is there. The DNC is there because, guys, you just can't leave that alone. Sax is there because he also can't leave that alone. It was a little bit of a gong show when it came to that.
Tate's so sleazy, man.
Oh
Tate, okay, that was like, I knew he would probably be there, but it was just like seeing, Rashad show up in the way that they cut it. I was just like, Tate, man, what the, with this guy showing up. And then it's like, there's this need for somebody to deliver the eulogy. And it's like, Tate almost like goes into the phone booth to change into his cape. He's like, I got this, guys, don't worry.
Nobody wants to hear you talk at the funeral, Tate.
New York leads the way. Okay, no, I'm not trying to bring that back up again, but no, Tate, I hate Tate. Tate and Sax are like I hate them, and yet I get so much enjoyment out of Tate. Like Tate's giving his emotional moments and gestures out to just stop it, Tate. Nobody wants this from you.
I really liked that there was this pull in all these different directions for Tariq to give this eulogy, where we had one side that's like, oh, we really need this for the case. We need you to go up there and just burn your dad to the ground. And then the other side's like, no, we still need his reputation intact. And that whole conversation with Simon Stern and Tariq at school, sort of talking about how this would benefit him financially and continue to benefit the family financially. And seeing him pulled back and forth was really interesting to see, especially when he went and talked to his mom. And I liked seeing that Tasha was just his mom in that moment and was just like, what do you want to do, Tariq? I've got your back on whatever you want to do. How are you feeling about this? Do you even want to do this? You don't have to.
I loved that moment. I think it was important for that moment that has there's actually one person in this world who seems to care more about Tariq for Tariq. I mean, we'll talk more about Brayden, who I guess is like a pseudo kind of there for Tariq person. We'll get into Brayden. I still have some thoughts on Brayden, but
I'm starting to turn around on Brayden when he was at that vigil and he's slapping people's phones out of their hands. I was like, you go, Brayden. All right, I'm starting to warm up to you a little bit. You clearly have something for Tariq.
I want to be out on Brayden. I want to, but yeah, he's got some endearing stuff. But can we make Simon Stern the third person on the unholy trinity with Sax and Tate? Because here's Simon Stern, this conversation he had with Tariq, was just like, I don't really need the money. He's just trying to put up, I'm just here for you, Tariq.
Right.
Really, you're such a tool. Simon is, I really think, honestly, he is one of the most wicked people in this entire universe. This guy, he has shown himself through 7 collective seasons to be greedy, manipulative, destructive, and he is excellent at just pawning off everything on everybody else, and nothing is ever Simon Stern's fault.
No, I mean, what he was saying about the idea of ambition and morals usually being two things that people are trying to separate and be one or the other, and Ghost was battling that within himself because those two things were the same thing for him. Sometimes Simon does hit things, and then other times he'll be like, oh yeah, we all care about your mom. I care about your mom. You don't care about Tasha, Simon. Just stop it.
You know who Simon Stern cares about? I'll tell you, his first name is Simon. That is who Simon Stern cares about.
Yeah.
The eulogy, I think, is one of the better performances that Michael has given.
Yeah, it was
through,
great.
All of Power. I think he delivered that really well. I mean, I will say this, if I was in Tariq's shoes, I don't know if I would be able to translate my thoughts. I don't know if he had kind of jotted it down in his head and was mentally practicing it, because it was so effective with what he said, and he really kind of expressed a lot in a very little amount of words.
The thing that I was the most surprised about, that I think the show missed the mark on a bit, is Tariq should have been carrying his dad's casket. I've been to hundreds of funerals. I'm a past funeral director. I'm licensed up in Canada as a funeral director. Unless he decided that he did not want to carry his dad's casket, they should have, at least for me, shown that conversation where he decided not to do that, because sons carrying their father's caskets is something that completely makes sense. It was really strange to see him not be one of the pallbearers for me.
I think it's also one of those sort of things where, I don't have any experience in the funeral industry, but even still, I recognize that usually, children or grandchildren carry the casket of their loved one who has passed.
Yeah, when my grandfather died, my uncle Mark was his only son, completely broken up about it, and he was right at the front to be able to carry him to the grave. It is something that you do to honor someone. And while we know that Tariq obviously has this complicated relationship with his dad, not everybody knows that. And that might be something then that he's like, you know what, this is something that I need to do, at least for some sort of optics.
Yeah, and I think that word is important because there was a lot of press there. And, it is completely distasteful for people to say, oh, Tariq wasn't carrying his father's grave. There were all these reporters and photographers there, whatever else. But with the way that sort of celebrity culture works and the way that people dig into everything, of course, people are going to start raising questions about what that means.
Yeah.
So let's get to the other cameo that I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Is it Blanca's back? I think I like Blanca more than most people. Not that I feel like she was one of the only people within the entire legal side of Power that was even halfway good at her job.
I wasn't totally in on Blanca the first time around, but I am totally in on her now. When she gave that testimony and then turned over to Davis and was just like, call me as a witness, I got you. I was like, okay, I'm now on your side.
It makes sense, too, given how many times Sax just screwed her over throughout all of... This is, if I'm Blanca, I am throwing darts at Sax's face because it's she tried to do at least more the right way than... I'm not saying that she's innocent, but she's got to be thinking, how am I the one not getting some sort of promotion? And this just jerk, completely screws everything up, is a mess. He doesn't do anything right, and yet here he is, U.S. Attorney Cooper Sax. What is wrong with this picture?
And it was that whole scene was really interesting to me because it felt like Davis made the best case there. And, Sax got what he got out of Blanca, but he was really sort of leading her in the way they was like, no, you can't say anything else. You can only say yes or no, stop saying other things. That I kind of wondered why the judge at that point wasn't just like, okay, Sax, we're done with you, just stop it, get out.
Does the judge suck? I think this is a legitimate question that we need to ask right now.
Yeah.
I think this judge does suck. I think this judge, maybe some other judges are like, okay, I'm obviously going to side with the prosecutor's side on this. Maybe that's what's going on here, but yeah.
But this is such a serious thing. We're looking at Tasha maybe getting the needle. This is something that if the judge has any sort of feelings about where it's, it doesn't look like this is all adding up, why bring this forward?
Can we talk a little bit about the other moment involving Sax? This show is trying to set up Sax as being bizarrely influential when it comes to the judge, and then it's also this investigator that he brings in who's just no, I'm not doing that, and then he's like, Davis McLean is on the case, and then all of a sudden,
I'm on it. Yeah, I know.
like, is Cooper Sack secretly have like persuasion powers or something we don't know about?
I didn't buy into that scene at all.
It was weird. That's the thing with book 2. It's got these moments where I was mostly in on the funeral stuff. I thought Micah was great. I thought everything with Tariq and Tasha was great. And then we've got like Brayden talking about why everybody's going to parties and just like continuing to act like this, like, I don't know. He's just like a rambunctious 14-year-old, even though I know he's older than 14. He's kind of like an older, whiny teenager, and yes, he is still the best friend character in every NBA 2K game as well.
There was 2 moments that sort of started to turn me around on him.
Okay.
One, going to the vigil and, him seeing people taking pictures to post on Instagram or whatever with the ghost picture, and he's slapping people's phones out, throwing everybody's phones on the ground. And then Tariq showed up, and he was the only person that came over and was like, hey, are you okay? No, get me out of here. All right, we're getting out of here. And your phone is also on the ground. I just really like that about him. But then we got to the party, and I started to see things unfold with his brother and sort of where he is as a person. Yes, he has this sort of powerful name on the campus, but this is a guy who doesn't really feel like he has any power in himself, in his family, in anything. And now he's, and he's protecting Tariq.
Maybe I am too tough on Brayden, and I think some of this probably just has to do with the fact that, like, he's sort of put in the position of the Tommy on this show, and I think it's just, I love Tommy so much. Granted, Brayden does not seem to be anywhere near as dangerous as Tommy, but I think it's just, my bar is just very, very high for, like, the best friend who kind of has questionable moral character.
Which is like Tommy in its own sort of way, and I'm glad that he's nothing like Tommy. He is completely different than Tommy. And it's good that they are trying to set that up. But as far as, is Brayden ever really going to be Tariq's best friend? Maybe. It's
all too early to tell at the moment. I mean, I think he certainly cares about him a little bit more than Zeke does at the moment, where Zeke is just like, I just need to play basketball games and you are my key to success.
Yeah.
The story I will say I am totally out on right now is this Carrie and Jabari romance or whatever.
I don't care about it at all.
Yeah, I'm just like, okay, so apparently he did something bad and put someone like her in a book or something, and they have some sort of history, and it's just...
And now she's with a sponsor because she's addicted to love, and, like, I don't know what's happening here yet. Maybe the story just needs more time to unfold for me, but I'm not in on it.
Yeah, it just feels too disconnected, because it's like, with Monet and like this Tejada family empire, at least this is fun to me, at least because you've got like shadiness, you've got like, there's an element of Dexter Morgan in a couple of these characters.
Yes, and then Angel Batista showed up.
Yeah, I know.
Uncle Frank. I'm like, whoa, all right. And he's so sleazy, which was kind of cool because every time I see that actor, I'm just like, it's Angel Batista. I can't see anybody else except him. But he did a good job in this of being like, he made me feel really uncomfortable at that table.
Yeah, the moment that he started saying those things about Diane, I was just like, no, we're done with you now, Uncle Frank.
Oh, it was so bad.
It is very weird and ironic that they decide to kill Uncle Frank basically the same way Dexter Morgan kills a lot of people.
Yeah, and I also, this is the other thing that I found very weird about that scene. So they figured out that he was a snitch, and some of it came from Monet. She, of course, has been around long enough to know what's going on. It was interesting that Kane didn't really pick up on that, because my feeling is he's been going through it with the family since the beginning of time here.
Yeah.
So I think he probably should have had a little bit of a better read on that, considering how much he does with Monet and for Monet, and that he had to be told by Tariq. So there was a little bit of that I was kind of like, okay, I don't know about this. But once he and Monet and everyone had figured out that he was a snitch, I was really surprised and had a hard time buying into that they weren't going to get that information out of him, because we don't know, or they don't know, who he snitched on. And I feel like that information is very important. And yes, later she got those papers from that cop, but that was later. She didn't know she was getting that. So I was kind of surprised they were just like, nope, dead, cut him up, garbage bags, Dexter Morgan style, in a barrel, let's go.
Yeah, it was all kind of fast, but I will say this. I am in on Kane. Like, I'm really in on this. The Kane is, you know, we've talked a little bit about how there are archetypes for every, like, bank heist, where you've got, Kane is actually, if this doesn't work out for him, he needs to get into the bank heist genre, because Kane is ultimately, he is the enforcer archetype. He's the guy who just, like, goes in and does all this, like, crazy stuff, and everyone's just terrified of.
Yeah, there is no messing around with Kane, and it's good to have a character on here that is terrifying like he is.
Yeah, Kane is great. I think Kane is my favorite of this whole Monet storyline at the moment. Monet is interesting in herself, and I think that Tariq is sort of starting to set himself up as a part of this, but what was interesting to me was sort of seeing and recognizing how Monet can sort of use Tariq and find a way to get herself kind of mixed up in this as well.
Yeah, and I think it was such a cool power move for her to, you know, first she set up Diana to go over and get a bit of information. I like that Diana's not just a straight up love interest. There is her working as part of the family, trying to get information. It is family first. But I love that power move that Monet did, where she got the information that Tasha needed that pill, set her up with a cell phone, set up Tariq with a cell phone. Neither of them knew this was happening, to sort of be like, yeah, I am the puppet master. I control all of this. You guys are welcome, and now you guys owe me.
Here's the thing with Power Book 2 so far. It's not perfect. I don't think we've gotten to the high highs of power yet, but maybe it's just like my just intense hatred for Sax, or maybe it's just me being excited to have power back on, but it's like, I'm so in on this show after 2 episodes.
Yeah, there's some stumbles in it. It's not perfect by any means, but there are some really good storylines that I'm becoming very invested in very quickly.
Come back soon, Blanca. Let's nail Sax. Let's do this.
I can't believe I'm all in on Blanca the way that I am. I really wasn't. And just one scene, it's completely changed for me.
It is so weird. It's like, I'm in on I like this weird character Kane so much. It's a fun show. It's fun to talk about. Let's all talk about it together. Let us know what you thought about episode 2 in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe, support us further, check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.